Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Young Engineers of Today. I heard you had Monday off as well, so I hope you had a nice little extended break. And I hope you're ready to continue with more Fusion 360 because we're going to get some more done with this today. We'll see how much we get done. We're going to watch a little video that's off topic, uh, but interesting before we get started on that. And then we'll try and calibrate where we were in the previous lessons, maybe do a quick run through or something like that, and then we'll start making some more progress towards our phone case. So first off, I hope everybody had a nice weekend, and let's go ahead and let's watch this video because this is a video on Boston Dynamics and some of the robots that they develop. I'm sure you've seen Boston Dynamics robots before because they're pretty good. They're they're pretty innovative as far as design is concerned, and locomotion for robots and things like that. Yep, exactly. They can open doors now. They can regain their balance if they're pushed, things like that. So, and I don't even mean necessarily the four-legged ones here. Like they have two-legged robots that can adjust themselves and try and get back up from getting knocked over. So it's pretty interesting to see this kind of stuff. Yeah, they can wash dishes. It's pretty remarkable. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up this video. I will link it to you guys so that you can watch it as well. It shouldn't be too terribly long. Yeah, 45 seconds. It's super quick. And then I'll go ahead and we'll move on from there. So let me link this into the chat box. There you go. Just so you can watch it at a much higher frame rate than watching it through the Young Engineers screencast is going to provide. Oh, the fillet wouldn't work? Okay. All right, so really quick video, but I think it's important to note that that was programmed in. That's not remotely controlled by somebody. Those are protocols that those robots were given in case they ran into these situations. So that I think is pretty remarkable. Well, let's see here. So I'm guessing, based on the fact that Caben's talking about the fillet or whatever, um, that you guys are around this step where you've already extruded the back of the phone case, and now you're trying to round the edges. Am I correct in thinking that, or am I off base? I know you can't. That's that. Yeah, we can try and address that. I was more getting an idea of. Okay. Okay. Yes, this is part of the intermediate phone case. Sure. Yeah. Why don't I? Okay. We'll start from a completely flat rectangle. Actually, let's start from how we got there. So I'm going to go ahead and delete my delete my sketch here. Boom, boom. Okay, so let's just start from a phone case, or excuse me, a phone model. So what we did is we created a new sketch on the back face of this phone. So you want to make sure it's the back. Conveniently, the phone is oriented as if like you laid it on a table. So if you want the back of the phone, get the bottom part of the cube, and you'll know that you're looking at the back of the phone. So what we can do is we can right-click on this top part here and select New Component, and that'll bring up something labeled Component 4, 5, 6, something like that. I can just double-click this and name it Case. So this is going to be the beginning of our case, and this may be, you guys may already be beyond this, but this is just a little bit of review just in case. And also, Cademan, since you're having trouble with the fillet, why don't we go ahead and work from this point? You can hide the other case and then just try and do it all again from the review, because a lot of times there's some step along the way that didn't quite translate correctly, and that's why stuff will not work 100% like you anticipate it. So the easiest way to do it is just to well, start over, unfortunately, unless you know exactly what the issue is. So we got our case here. We're looking at the back of the phone, and I'm going to go ahead and create a sketch. And I want to make sure that I have the back of the phone selected, so it's going to be a little bit lighter than everything else. It might be a little bit harder to see, so you can rotate it a little bit in order to get a better idea. And so the lighter part is sort of highlighted right now, and we know that's the back of the phone. So I'm going to click that, and then see now I've got the nice thick outline around it, so I know that I've got the back face of the phone selected, which is great. That's exactly what I want. So I've got my back of the phone. I'm just going to go ahead and drag select, and then I'm going to shift click this other stuff around here as well, including the edges. You want to make sure that you get the edges as well, which is a little funky because the edges are separate from sort of the sides of the phone. So if I move over here, I've got these like nice black lines that appear on the edge of the phone. It doesn't have to be all of them, because you don't want to get like the volume buttons and stuff like that, but you do want to make sure that you've got most of at least the bottom edges of the phone. As you can see, I'm missing one right there. Oh, I can't, there's nothing there to select. Oh, no, there is. Okay, so if I were to move my mouse here, as you can see, it's actually very difficult to see, probably through the computer, but I'll go ahead and use a dark green line. I've got these lines right here. Okay, that's really not easily visible. I'm going to use a red line. I got these lines right here, basically highlighted, so they're sort of a thicker light blue color all along the edge here. Oh wow, I really screwed up that last part. So just sort of slowly walk yourself around the phone and make sure that you've got all of those edges selected, which is kind of a pain because you've got stuff like right here, which doesn't really cooperate nicely. But if we just have a little bit of patience, boom, those are all selected, and rotate it around here. Check it out up here. Yeah, these are all selected as well. So once I'm sure that I've got all of those selected, I'll zoom out, look back at the bottom of the phone. If you hold down Shift, I'm sorry, I missed that part. If you hold down Shift, you can select multiple things at once. So you want to shift click. So once you've got those all selected, just go ahead and click on this construction here. Now, did you guys get an explanation as to what construction is? Okay. I'm going to assume no then, just in case. Oh, you did? All right. Well, it's just as a really quick review, a construction line is like if you're building something out of wood, you draw lines with a pencil in order to know where to make cuts and add screw holes and things like that. A construction line in Fusion 360 is the same thing. It's something that's not a part of the drawing, but is still visible so that you can see it and work with it. It's not visible in the sense that it doesn't really exist as far as the computer is concerned. If you wanted to print this out, it wouldn't print out the construction lines. But you can use them in order to sort of visually keep track of what's going on your sketch. You can also think of them like comments in code. Comments you write for yourself so that you can keep track of stuff, but the computer doesn't see the comments when it's compiling the code. So you can write whatever you want in those comments, and the computer's never going to know. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and click construction here. And as you can see, everything sort of changes a little bit, um, which perfect. We want to make sure, I don't, sometimes it doesn't exactly 100% cooperate. So I'm going to select the actual four sides that I really want to be construction lines right now, again, by shift clicking. And I'm going to make sure that that little construction thing is highlighted, and it is. So now I've got these four blue lines. I've got one that's on the left-hand side of the phone okay, so it's on our left since we're looking at the bottom of the phone. And it's the one that's about 2/3 of the length of the phone. And then we got the one on the top, which is like the middle, I don't know, half of the top. And then we've got the one on the right, which is from the bottom of the volume button down to where the curve starts. And then we got this wee little one down here on the bottom. It doesn't really matter which one as long as we have one on each side. That's the most important thing, is we have one on each side. So now that we know that they're created out of construction, I'm going to go ahead and hide the phone just by clicking the little light bulb there. That makes it disappear. It makes it invisible. It still exists, but it's invisible, so we can look at other stuff and sort of declutter the drawing. So now we've got these four lines here, and these four lines just happen to be the exact dimensions of the phone because they are the edges, which is great for us because we want to create a rectangle around those edges. So once you've hidden the phone and you've got these four lines here, just go ahead and select a 2-point rectangle. Either it might be up here, or you might have to go down to Sketch, and then Rectangle, and then 2-point rectangle, or you can press the R key on the keyboard. And then your cursor turns into, it's got like a cursor with a crosshair, and then it's got a little 2-point rectangle on the edge of it. And then just from one edge to the other, so you're surrounding the words. You're surrounding the lines. So it's larger than the lines. And I'm going to make sure that it is not a construction rectangle. So let's go ahead and select all the sides and turn off construction. So now it is, wait, good Lord. If your lines disappear like they did for me, just unhide the phone and select the lines again, because sometimes Autodesk doesn't really want to cooperate 100%. So you'll notice that my rectangle has a dotted line around all of it, and it's not filled in. And that is because it defaulted to not being construction. It's easy enough to fix. All I have to do is select all four sides and then deselect construction. So now I've got this nice solid blue line, as well as the filled in rectangle. These are not. Unfortunately, it keeps deselecting the edges of the phone, so I'll have to go and select those again, which is annoying, but not the end of the world. So I'm just going around the sides and selecting the edges of the phone. There. So now we have the same four lines around the edge of the phone that we had before. And I'll just go ahead and hide the phone one more time. So now we can actually much more easily tell this is larger than all the sides. It's an indeterminate amount larger right now, which is okay because we're going to sketch the dimensions and make that more specific and exact. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go to Sketch and then Sketch Dimension. And now I've got my little Sketch Dimension cursor. I'm going to go ahead and select, oh Lord. I'm going to go ahead and select that. Why did it draw it on the wrong? Oh, that's the top. That's why. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and select one of our construction lines. Looking at it from the bottom again. So I'm going to select the construction line and the edge, and that's not at all right. Dimension. Which ones are selected? Cancel. All right, why aren't you cooperating with me? I had this working literally just before the class, so let me go ahead and so we've got our construction lines. It's not construction, construction. And if we're going to try to sketch the dimension here. Okay, that's one way to do it. So what I'm doing here is I'm sketching the dimension, but I'm selecting an edge, and then I'm rotating back around to the top, well, excuse me, the bottom of the phone, the back of the phone, and I'm selecting the edge of the rectangle. So as you can see, this is not the edge that I want. Okay, there we go. And you'll know you get it right when you can see that I've pulled off the little measurement here, and it's showing me the two lines that I want to measure the distance between, which is great. So as I pull it away and I click, then I get the, enter in the dimension. We're going to make all of these sides 2 millimeters. So the edges of the rectangle should be 2 millimeters away from the edges of the phone. Same thing here. Select you and select you. Draw you out, make you 2 millimeters. Oh, you said 3? Okay, well that's easily fixable. All you need to do is just double click on one of these and make it 3. So if you've already measured the dimension to be 2, you can just simply double click on the number and you can change it. So that's useful because sometimes in situations like these, the amount's going to change. So in this case, it was 2, it's been changed to 3. So just make sure you've got 3. And let's bring out the last one and make it 3 millimeters. And there we go. If we were to look at the bottom of it again and hide the phone one more time, as you can see, we've got our 4 lines on the edge of the phone and the measurements out to the edge of the rectangle, and they're all 3 millimeters, which is great. Now we're looking at words. We're looking at a correctly sized rectangle, which is excellent. All right, so now that we've sized the rectangle correctly, we're going to stop the sketch and we're going to bring the phone model back into the picture, and we're going to extrude the back of the phone case. And key in the value to match. Okay, so what is the matching value? Oh, 9 millimeters. Okay. So stop sketch. So now we've got our rectangle here. I'm going to unhide the phone. And now, as you can see, it's sitting nicely on the back of the phone. I'm going to create and then extrude. So you can either click the extrude up here, which I believe you guys should have um, the extrude up at the top in the quick select, or you can go down to create, and then it's the second option, extrude. And then select your rectangle. So the distance between the sides of the phone and the phone case are 3 millimeters. Yeah, or you can press E. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, apparently that got updated to 3 millimeters. So you can just double click on the two. If you look at the dimensions in the sketch, you can just double click on each of the twos and change it to 3, or you can keep it at 2 right now, and it shouldn't be too hard to change later. All right, so now we're sitting here on the extrude screen, and we need to extrude it out a certain amount. In fact, an amount that'll be able to cover the phone. In this case, we're going to make it extruded 9 millimeters. And if we look at it from the right angle, we can see that the phone is now underneath the case, and the case is extruded 9 millimeters out beyond it. So it's the profile plane. Interesting. Two sides. Okay, I see what's going on here. So let me go ahead and undo this extrude and select the entire back of the phone case and key in the values to match. I'm not entirely sure why he selected 4 values. But what we can do is we can set it up to extrude 2 sides. So now, instead of just extruding in one direction, we can pick 2 directions to extrude. So we've got side 1, and we've got side 2. So side 1, we're going to make 2 millimeters and see how that works. Whoops. We're going to not press enter. So 2 sides, make 2 millimeters, and then 9 millimeters. And now you can see this case has been projected and it's covered the phone entirely. And there's a little bit of give in the back too. And there's sort of a slice going throughout the back edge of it. This is the original face that we drew, the rectangle that we drew. And now we've extruded up 2 millimeters and down 9, which is exactly what we want. And we'll hit OK. And now we've got a block. We've just got a solid block that we just somehow glorp our phone into. And that is our phone case. Nobody can tell that it's a phone case because nobody can tell what it is. So it will be the safest phone case in the world. Nobody will steal it because they won't know what it is. And you can't hurt it because it's solid. Sure, I'll go ahead and do that again. Okay, so we got our rectangle, right? I'm going to go up here to extrude, and I'm going to select this rectangular face. This is the rectangle that we just drew. You got me there, Aiden. So now I've got that selected. The start is the plane, which is the rectangle that we drew. And under direction, I'm going to select 2 sides because we want it to be extruded upwards and downwards as well. So on side 1, this is the upwards direction. I'm going to make that 2 millimeters. I need to stop hitting enter when I do that. There we go. Make it 2 sides. I'm going to make it 2 millimeters. So now it gets extruded upwards a little bit past the phone. Then on side 2, which is the downward side, I'm going to extrude it 9 millimeters. So it's going to get extruded downwards enough to cover the phone entirely. And then I hit OK, and I got this nice solid protective block around my phone. Does that help, Calder? Sure. What step are you getting are you getting hung up on? Even though you're entering in the values and everything? Is the rectangle blue when you do this? Okay. Okay, because you definitely want to make sure that the rectangle is blue. And then you get like a little arrow here. And when you select two sides, you'll get two arrows. One is a blue arrow and one is a grayish arrow. All right. So we got our block. We're going to smooth out the edges. Oh, excellent. Glad to hear it. All right, so I'm going to go up to Modify and then Fillet. And I'm just going to come around here and I'm going to hit the edges of each of these so I've got them selected. I'm also going to hide my phone real quick to make sure that I don't accidentally select anything on the phone. For this, you don't have to shift click because it will assume that you want all of these to be selected. So as you can see, with my weirdo projection view, I've got 4 glowing blue lines right on the edges here, and they're on the very, very edges, which is great. And we're going to go ahead and change the radius to 10 millimeters, and that should smooth out the edges of these of this block. Once we're satisfied with that, go ahead and hit OK, and now you've got a nice solid blocky block. With nice rounded edges. Looks like a weird bar of soap almost. Like one of those things that you rub your hands on when you're chopping garlic so that your hands don't smell like garlic. Which I still don't know how those work. But anyway. All right, so now we should have some nice smooth rounded edges, round, and a nice solid case to work with. So now we need to rotate, to use the view cube to rotate ourselves to the back. Why would you want to rotate to the back? The back is not going to give you any interesting information. I think what he means is the okay, the front of the phone case. So we're going to rotate it around so that we're looking at the top. Either way, it's going to be the front of the phone case, so we should be looking at the front of the phone now instead of the back of the phone. Obviously, the phone is hidden, so we really can't tell. But if I put the light bulb on the phone, we can kind of see it like ghost in there. And then I'm going to hide the case. It's 10 millimeters. That is the fillet size. I swear, real talk, I don't actually know if it's fillet or fillet, because I know when you're the type of steak and everything like that, and the type of cut is a fillet, which would lead me to believe that, but then it's a very French word to revert to a very French art. So in this case, I don't know if it's appropriate to continue using that pronunciation or if it's unnecessarily um, like an unnecessary flourish. Like if we just call it fillet because it's engineering and not cooking. Anyway, whatever. That's neither here nor there. What I went ahead and did is I hid the case and I showed the phone again. So now we've got the phone showing. We're looking at the front of the phone and no case. What? Oh, that was a step I forgot from the last time, but that's okay. We still made it work anyway. All right. So we're looking at the front of the phone case. That's great. Go ahead and bring back, or excuse me, the front of the phone. That's great. Go ahead and bring back the case, and we're going to create a new sketch on the face of the case. So now we got a sketch here, which is fantastic. I'm going to hide the case one more time. Bear with me. So now I've hidden the case, and I'm going to select the lines that go around the edge of the screen, including the little circular bit here. Zoom in and out as needed in order to be able to select all these lines, but now I've got the basically the screen of the phone nicely traced. Now there are some exceptions. I don't have like the front forward-facing camera or any of that stuff up here. I do have the earpiece though, the little ear speaker. So we're tracing around the ear speaker and around the outside of the screen, like so. Now with all of these selected, I'm going to go up to Sketch and then Project/Include, and I'm going to project it. Did he explain to you what projection does? What it does when it's working correctly. Well, okay. So in case you didn't, it's helpful, or in case you don't have an explanation for it, I know it's not visible. Okay. In case there was not a walkthrough on it, it's actually fairly easy to tell what's going on with a little bit of a visual aid. So I'm going to go ahead and select these lines and whoops, make sure that they're good to go. And if I show the case again, as you can see, the lines on the face of the phone are now purple and on the front of the case, and I'm going to hit OK. What this does is this takes those exact things that we selected and basically traces them on another surface. Yes, I know I'm all set with the latest update. So now, even though this is a different surface from the front of the phone, these lines you can sort of think are well, projected upwards so that we can see exactly where they are on the front of the case. So now we know that. Even though the case is completely obscuring the phone, we know exactly where the phone screen is because it's been projected onto the case. So we turn the visibility of the case back on so that we can see it. And then we're going to highlight all of the purple lines, curves, and points and right-click to select normal instruction. So we'll go through and highlight all of these nice purpley lines that we made, as well as all the purple points. So everything that's purple. So this'll probably take a moment. And one of the easier ways to tell that it's a purple, what is going on with my computer? One of the easier ways to tell that it's a purple line is you can see the little projection icon is floating next to it whenever you select it. It's kind of freaking out right now, man. At least on my computer. But hey, whatever. There's probably some Z fighting going on or something. Wow. Okay. I don't know what happened. My computer's having a real bad day right now. All right, so we're going to keep just trucking on and selecting these things. Slowly but surely. I'm going to select all of these things. All right, two more things. I don't know why it's constantly recalculating these projection lines. Excuse me. Oh no. Oh no. All right, well, slight technical difficulties while I get everything selected again. At least it's going faster this time. I'm sure this is super exciting to watch too. Well, make it through as best we can. Almost done. On the plus side, I'm sure it's giving you guys plenty of time to select yours. Okay. I did it. So I'm going to right click on these and we're going to normal / construction. And now they are construction lines doing some wicked Z fighting. What is happening there? Oh, they just don't like being around each other. All right. So now we can draw two lines from the two endpoints of the screen to the edge of the case, assuming Fusion 360 wants to play nice. I just tried to alt tab over to it, and it's going to take its sweet time thinking. There we go. Apparently just clicking on it helped out a lot. So what they mean by that is if we pan downwards a little bit, and it presumably at some point stops zooming out of its own accord, and we can get it back to a sane zoom. This is just going swimmingly. See these two dots right here? These are considered the endpoints of the screen. So what we're going to do is we're just going to sketch a line straight down from those points. And I know it's straight down because if I look at this over here on this side, the right side, I've got this little sort of curved line, curved arrow, and there's another line next to it. And if I get 90 degrees, then I know I'm pointing straight down. If I'm not getting 90 degrees, well, we can sketch dimension in order to make sure that it is doing exactly what it's supposed to. All right. So let me go to sketch dimension. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to select this line. I'm going to select the construction line above it. And as you can see, I get this nice little semicircle that pops out. And with this, I can denote exactly what the angle should, what. Is it doing that? Select and select, 180. That is not at all correct. Okay, so that answers that question. I definitely have more than one line that was projected. So if I delete you and try and sketch the dimension again, cancel. So we're gonna undo that, undo that, undo that, undo that. And if I, oh, come on. 90 degrees. Okay. Yep, there we go. That was what did it. All right, and that's 90 degrees as well. Ish. There we go. Now it's 90 degrees. So what I did here is I created I sketched the dimension between this line and the bottom part of the screen. And I made sure that it was 90 degrees. That way it's pointing straight down because these should be exactly horizontal. Now that we're done wrestling with the UI, I'm going to go ahead and click Stop Sketch. And mercifully, my computer frees up a billion resources inexplicably. With that done, we should have we can actually turn these back into regular lines. Cancel. If we select this again, well, all right. Or it doesn't want to cooperate. Add sketch. So what we need to do actually is we need to turn these lines back into regular lines now that we've used them for our drawing purposes. I'm going to hit stop sketch one more time. So now you can see we've got these purple lines that exist once again. And the reason we did that is because we want to be able to select this whole sort of band of stuff on the outside in one fell swoop. If I click on it, boom, it's selected. Excellent. It's perfect. Because we're going to extrude that. So go ahead and select it and extrude. Make sure it's blue. And we are going to extrude it -8 millimeters. A fair amount of things after that. You want to turn them into construction lines and then draw 2 lines straight down from this point. This point being the lower points at the sort of the end of the straight vertical part of the screen. See, because what it did is it continued along the vertical part of the screen, so I had this nice nice line. And then I'm going to project it by -8 so that it, or excuse me, extrude it by -8 so that it goes downwards. Wait, that's not right. Okay, so the face that he had selected is backwards. Yeah, definitely I can do that. Okay, so that part is incorrect. We actually want to extrude this middle part by -8. Oops. Oh. We'll hit OK. So now we've got the middle part is missing, and if we bring the phone back, the phone is visible again. Okay, let me go ahead and I will get this slideshow downloaded so that I can zip it up and put it into the handouts. That way you guys have it. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and do the poll questions so that we get those out of the way. And then once that's done, if you have any questions, I'm here. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to head out and have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you next Wednesday. So let me go ahead and get the PDF download started, and we'll do the poll questions.